put it here.
Okay.
So it's you were playing with what? Kusaruev. Okay.
Oh yeah, with the Roy. Yeah. Oh God, I remember the opening too. The Bishop D5. Oh, that's game. Oh man.
Yeah, C3, knight
Oh,
f6,
this is
D4.
embarrassing.
Well,
But it actually turned out
just
well
for the
though.
audience.
The Bishop D5. It threw him off. It threw him off, and I actually got a good position.
Yeah, I mean, he missed almost immediately. uh, just for the audience, knight takes e4 is never possible because of the double attack.
The classic trap.
Something important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bishop g4, though, not such an amazing move. I mean, banking on this fact that he can never take, you can easily play bishop e3 and knight bd2 here. And I don't see the point of the bishop on g4, really. Looks like it's gonna be a quite comfortable king's pawn for you, you know. Um, but yeah, bishop d5, well, it has its flaws. You mentioned them in your video. You're just getting rid of the light square bishop, which tends to be important in this opening. And with your whole structure in dark squares, that tends to be bad. Knight takes, it takes. He went back to e7. All of this more or less makes sense. You kick the bishop out, and you mentioned bishop takes f3 is a mistake, but why is it a mistake?
How dare you ask me without me having the engine? You know. Let's see.
Just positionally speaking, what's so bad about bishop takes f3? When I saw it, and I said, "Oh no."
Oh, when he plays bishop takes f3. Well, I think
Yeah,
for one thing he's got 3 pawns on dark squares on from c7 to e6, so that's his good bishop. And I have a bad bishop. Well, I mean, I have the one diagonal, but apart from that, he has the better bishop, and he needs that. He needs that bishop. It also, of course, just helps my queen get out and defend d5. I think those are the main aspects, and plus he gives
yeah.
up his bishop pair.
You just got rid um, of your light square bishop. He still owns his. He can exploit your weak light squares by keeping it, and he exchanges it. I mean, it's crazy. He solves your whole issue with the light squares. I know at this stage it doesn't seem like much because it's not like you're getting a black knight on d3 or anything like it, but these things matter in the long run. For example, I don't know, he can go back to, I think in f5, because h5 there might be g4 followed by d takes. I don't know, but this is also pretty good for him, I think. As long as he keeps this bishop on the board, he has to be better. I don't see how. I,
Well, I was just
yeah.
about to say, like, I keep talking about how I was so tired, but he might have been exhausted too. I mean, it's the last round, right? He might have had a couple long games as well. So we might have.
Yeah, these tournaments are hard. I mean, you're playing all day basically without rest. It's it's tough. Um, but yeah, that can explain why he took two. I mean, taking on f3 looks like such an automatic reaction, but looks like he's not noticing that you don't have your own light square bishop. And yeah, he's solving a lot for you. As you said, now it's defended. You have a space advantage suddenly. I don't know. um, so what? Knight g6. Guessing more or less normal. He has to play bishop e7, but he didn't. He played queen f6 first. I mean, that's weird enough. What do you think about the pawn structure at this point?
It's confusing.
Whom do you
It
think it's gonna favor?
after queen f6 or right now.
Right now, let's say he doesn't play Queen F6 yet,
I
even
prefer.
here.
Well, I like I prefer white here. I feel that it's easier to play for white. I have more attacking potential. Um, Black has to play, I feel, very accurately, or he could be in a lot of trouble. Like I'm almost threatening to just take on e5 right away. Like rook e1, e5. Like um, I could pop in a knight like knight e2 to e4 to g3 to f4. I don't know. I like. I've got a4 break. It just feels like white has so. It's just really easy to play for white and very awkward for black. So um, I prefer white's pawn structure here. I yeah.
Hmm. Okay, and from Black's perspective, what do you think he wants to do?
Well, f5 seems natural. Just getting some semblance of control of the center a little bit, and that kind of bogs me down a little bit. Like f5, I'm already getting a bit cramped. Like how does like I can't really encroach on the king side, and already have to worry about stuff like e4, like f5 e4, and apart from that, an eventual break on c6. But I think f5 first, and then maybe like rook c8 c6, something like that. Yeah.
C6 is gonna be hard. I mean, there's one thing, did that pawn on d5 of yours, yeah, it wins space, but at the same it can be a liability. I mean, you yourself mentioned that that pawn can get into some trouble at times. During the video, I mean.
Yeah, later
So
on, yeah, because I can't
yeah,
really defend it with anything other than the queen right now.
yeah, it's very far removed from the rest of your structure and your position, so that might be a bit of a problem with overextension. Um, I don't know if I agree that much with your assessment. I mean, I really like black here.
Oh,
uh, but just because the plan you mentioned, I mean, bishop e7, castling, and f5 looks quite compelling. And I mean, I don't see an attack with 94 and such because f5 is just um, extremely annoying. I mean, it takes away so many squares in the center. That doesn't mean your position is hope, not even close to it. And I don't even claim such an objective advantage for black. But he has a very, very clear plan here. And I don't know if you shouldn't start chipping at his queenside pawns to create some weaknesses there. That might well be the case. I think bishop e7 was best. Just castle, play f5, and at least it's a very clear plan. If you take on e5, well, I might want to take with a pawn to keep both pawns together. Your position kind of lacks flexibility. I mean, I don't know how you're going to push your pawns. His kingside pawns are going to advance pretty easily with f5. Um, that's why I'm keen on quickly exerting some pressure on the b5 pawn. I don't know how well it works, but you might need to do something like it. Um, in the game, he played queen f6, which is weird. I mean, it's clear that he wanted you to exchange, which in the end happened. He played 92 here. You call this one sloppy?
oh yeah,
um,
yeah. I think I offered a draw around here too,
yeah, you mentioned it.
which is very unusual.
It
But
was
I just thought I would take a shot because I thought maybe he's as tired as I am, so why not try?
um, yeah, 92 it still looks more or less like a normal move. I don't know what you have to play otherwise. I mean, you can't allow this, so I don't know, queen e4, queen e2, one of those moves look more or less natural. I'm torn between queen e2 and queen e4 because queen e2 hits this, a4 would be useful there, but queen e4 is more centralized.
Sorry.
One of the two.
How does that help? How does that coordinate with a4? Queen e2 and a4. How does that?
Oh, because queen e2, when you play a4, you're hitting this pawn twice with the queen and with the pawn. I mean, if you drop it back to e2, then I don't know if it's best. I mean, I tend to like e4 for the queen because it defends the pawn e4. It's more centralized. So if I had to guess, I would say that queen e4 is the more normal move. I mean, taking into account that you shouldn't allow him to take. But knight e2, I mean, it can't be the end of the world. But now this move might be a bit too much. And this is very interesting because he took with the g pawn, which I'm going to award an exclamation mark to. And you probably should have avoided that trade of queens. I don't know, again, queen to e4, and maybe you can play knight b3 and try to go knight a5, knight c6. But why do you think this structure is favoring him now?
Well, when I took, I actually thought there was a good chance he would take with a G pawn, so it didn't surprise me at all. So why does it favor him? Well, his f pawn is ready to roll. If he took with a bishop, he's preventing his f7 pawn from advancing. So f5 can't really. I mean, I guess I have g4. But then he might even maybe h5. And that's already looking like my king side is crumbling away.
Exactly, he has that h5. He has the open g file, and if you try something like g4, it's also going to be the h file. But yeah, g takes f6 reinforces the center. So when you take on e5, he takes back with the f pawn, and he still has another f pawn to keep pushing. So these pawns are far from being weak. In this specific case, they look quite threatening. And now you need a plan. You took, which I think makes things easier for him, in a sense. The problem is it's hard to suggest anything better. I'll probably think about something else here. Say, for example, knight b3. Of course, keeping this one protected. Maybe you can play a 4 next. I don't know. Should try to fight against that pawn mass that if it starts walking forwards, it's going to win a lot of space. Maybe you have a4 and you start playing on the queen side too. I mean, you have some ideas here. For now, your pawn is safe. I mean, knight f4 is not a thing. The bishop is defending f4. Maybe this is an option. I'm just thinking of ways to, well, not allow him to carry out his plan so easily with f5 and such. Because after d takes d5, well, you give him this perfect pawn formation that it's going to be really pretty. And you play knight f3. How do you rate this move? Where do you think the knight is best placed? f3 or else?
Oh, well, yeah. I guess your hint. Well, I mean, knight e4 would blockade, but f5 just hits immediately, so that seems pretty pointless. There's c6 as an outpost.
Which one?
Sorry.
Oh, you're 94. Sorry.
Yeah, 94.
Like
94 it seems like the most natural move to look at, but f5 just kicks me out immediately. It doesn't seem useful at all. Putting it on c6, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I could put it on c6, but he can just move his bishop and my knight can maybe sometimes get kind of stuck over there, and then he might be able to just attack my king side. So I don't really know about putting on c6. It doesn't really coordinate with any of my other pieces. Um,
That's actually a good observation. The knight might just get all alone there doing not that much, even though it looks impressive.
yeah,
That's true. But the knight on f3 is really bad because it's just so limited by black's pawn structure, especially the e5 pawn, which is just rock solid and it takes d4 away. I like knight b3 a bit more because it's at least in the vicinity of the queen side. You can play your plan with a4, uh, and you're not blocking this. At some point, you might want to play f4 to fight against that pawn center. For example, f5, you might well consider f4 because the f5 pawn needs care. If this pawn disappears, then this knight jumps into d4, which is also something he has to be careful about. Um, it's like it gives you more flexibility and more ways to fight against his pawn center. The problem I see with knight f3 is that he's just building this pretty pawn center, and it's really easy play for him from here. Uh, he's gonna play bishop f6, having d4 under control. Then he's gonna start rolling the pawns. The king is probably going to stay on d7. The rooks are going to come to the center, maybe one on g8, and you're kind of suffocating. He has all the play in the center, and you have some things to worry about, like this pawn. For example, bishop f6 already uh, might be 97 already might be a problem. You have to be defending it from behind with the rook. I mean, it's like he has all the play, and your knight is extremely restricted on f3, and it restricts your pawn from going to f4, which is, I mean, it's a break that might help you fight against those pawns. And well, here the blunder that you mentioned. I mean, it's a natural move that you mentioned it as a blunder because, black could.
he's got this fork. Yeah, so he can trade on g5, I think, and then he has knight f4 with I call it an invisible fork. So hitting d5 and e2.
Easy to miss. Easy to miss, really.
Yeah,
So easy that your opponent also missed it.
yeah, I'm actually just trying to remember right now why this is a problem. I mean, if I play rook d1. Oh, that. Oh, yeah. Okay. See, I already forgot again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't about
Now,
about e2. It was about g2. Yeah. But I think
yeah, one of the two.
I think this is a lot easier for black to have seen than for me to have seen, because I think once you know what I mean, because first of all, it's one move further in from my opponent, but also from that perspective, I think it's easier to see the attacking potential with the knight on f4,
Yeah, you might think that he's counting on that G file
yeah.
to get some play. But yeah, he played. I don't know how much time he took to play this, but he just picked you out. And well, here it becomes interesting for us. Thankfully, he didn't play that, because after this trade, we get an endgame. How do you feel about this endgame? What's happening here?
I
What's
wasn't.
better? Why?
I was uncomfortable. I felt that d5 was. I mean, I know that d5 gives him a backwards pawn on c7, but it still felt like a liability because I have to defend that pawn with pieces now. So d5 was a little bit uncomfortable, and then of course I'm scared of his e5 and f5 pawns. The G file I wasn't that scared about. I felt that was defendable, and actually he kind of overreached later on. I remember that he got overconfident attacking there, didn't realize my defenses. I think I played 91 later. So I'm not really worried about the G file. I'm mostly worried about the center, like again those E and F pawns. And I felt D pawn was a little bit of a liability. And here I was just trying to kind of hope to hold. That was what I was trying to do here.
Yeah, it's a tough position for you. It's a good assessment. Well, you have some serious problems. As you mentioned, this pawn on d5, as all advanced pawns in the endgame, is now a liability. It's quite easy to attack, actually. And another maybe more invisible thing is that the difference in the activity of the kings is going to be great. And with this pawn center and the king being so close already, that's going to make a difference. That's why I don't like king h2 that much. I mean, I can understand that you want to get out of the of the file ASAP. I don't know, maybe g3, so the knight f4 isn't a thing, and then you can go about rook fd1, rook ac1.
I never would have considered
Your
G3.
goal,
I'm scared of the hook, like F4 or H4.
well, but consider that any move like this leaves weaknesses. I mean, f4 is probably bad move from a positional standpoint. Now you can put a knight there, most likely. And that would be a huge success. That's one thing with pawns. I mean, if you start pushing them, you're leaving weak squares. So these pawns are perfect as they are. I mean, they are in phalanx formation, one next to the other, covering all those squares. If one of them moves, some squares are going to be left undefended. For example, if you place e4, well, that's terrible. You probably just play knight d4. I don't know if terrible is the word, but it's definitely giving you some counterplay that you shouldn't be getting at this point. Black has to move those pawns forwards when he makes sure that your knight is not getting good perspectives. When he can push it back, mainly. So f4 right now, I think you're succeeding in putting the knight on e4, and I think the game changes completely. I'm starting to like your position now. On h5, well, it has its own drawbacks. You might play h4 yourself and you get d5 for the knight. You see, every time you push a pawn, weaknesses appear. So these pawns are very well placed for now, but black also has to be careful about how he's going to push them forwards. Unfortunately, you don't have this idea of fighting for e4 because he gets to f4 too quickly with his own knight, and that's terrible. But it's not out of the cards. I mean, at some point you might want to play g4 and put a knight on e4 just to gain squares for your knight. But king h2, the only problem is that you're getting your king away from the center. That king is probably better on f1 or so. No big deal, but he still no big deal yet. He still plays king f6, which is a good move. He's approaching the center with a king, just what he should be doing. And now, well, it's tough to get counterplay. How do you think you might manage to make things a bit harder for black? You probably need some open files.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at G4 again. G4, F4.
If he plays f4, you're happy. You play knight d2, and your knight definitely goes to e4, and actually you have a very big advantage. I mean, this is quite instructive. f4 would be a very bad positional mistake. Now he granted e4 for life, for your knight to live in. And he actually made his knight worse. Now it can't even go to f4. On the next few moves, you're going to play knight e4, f3. You have pawns against one here, and you
Then
can
I can play
even
a4.
start. Yeah, you can start organizing counterplay on the queen side. Maybe prepare c4 to gang up on this poor backward pawn on c7. Yeah, against g4, he's definitely not gonna push. It might be better to just play knight f4, for example. This makes way more sense.
What about, I guess if h5, I have g5.
How? Sorry?
If h5, I have g5.
Could be, but it would be another pawn that's far removed from
Well,
the rest of
I
the
was thinking
piece.
like h5, g5, and then h4.
Yeah, that pawn is at risk. I mean, e4 and knight takes, for example, it's hard to... h5 is very much possible, but since you can take at the very least, I don't really see the point. I mean, knight f4 looks way more direct to me. He's attacking this, threatening rook a, well, some rook to to the g file, and I think he should be better. I mean, he has a much better king after all. If you take, he takes, or he plays rook g8 first. Well, d5 is going to tie one of your rooks down, definitely. And yeah, he keeps all the advantage. That pawn on d5 turned out to be overextended. Yeah, maybe you can't just play g4 just yet, maybe. But yeah, there's some counterplay in the making. For example, this pawn might get backward on an open file, so maybe you can play something like rook ac1 with the idea of c4. I mean, you need some targets to create some problems too, I guess.
c5?
It's not easy, but
c5 maybe?
c5, well, at least you get rid of this weakness. D takes c.
But it's just his center looks even stronger.
Yeah, true. But at least you don't have to worry about this anymore. c5, d takes c. You're probably going to come after this one.
I was thinking d5.
d5. I don't know which rook. Maybe this one. Now it's not doing anything.
Then rook h d8.
Yeah, and I think we should start trying to apply some pressure on that pawn. It's not comfortable, but at least you're managing to create some problems.
Maybe e4.
But e4, that's good news. I mean, you have d4 permanently for your knight. I think you can do something like this, most likely. I still like black, but at least your pieces are doing something. You're applying pressure in the center. This plan looks more or less reasonable. You played b3. The problem is that you're trying to play c4, but that's going to give him the b file also. That's why I didn't much get. You're probably trying to defend the pawn d5. Is that right?
I forget. I forget what my plan was.
Yeah, it's probably it. h5 is
Seems slow.
understandable. I mean, he wants to just get rid of that resource. Not necessary, maybe.
Oh, and then I think
And well,
yeah, I think he plays h4 here.
and he plays h4, which allows you to go g4 apparently. Still hard move to make. I mean, most likely, I don't know if I won't switch to the queen side already, trying to get a hold of the open b file. It's still all right. And here you take and you want to create counterplay against the c pawn. At some point you succeed. I mean, rook h7.
Yeah, I played pretty well, I
And
think,
you have
here.
the, yeah, you created some serious issues because now he has to deal with this pawn. It's something to
Oh, this is so hard to watch
be
this
aware
game.
of.
I mean, I could have won. No, man.
Your king is way off though, and that makes a difference. It should at least with
Oh no,
here.
I forget if I no, maybe I wasn't winning, but I had an easy draw. I don't think I was ever winning, right? I don't. Yeah, I think I had a draw. What I could have.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's yeah, yeah. It's just that you ended up throwing it away somehow.
Multiple
Rook
times too.
91. And as we said, these pawns should advance. They should advance just at the time when your pieces don't get good squares. And now this knight is pretty lame. It's a time for e4. It's perfect timing. The king is getting into e5, and that's a huge king. And anytime you move this knight, the other knight is getting to d3. Probably this pawn is doomed also. It really looks like the time to do this to me. He played b takes a, and he can still play e4, but he went for this, and
he got overconfident here.
Yeah, pass pawns are strong in these endgames. I mean, this this is way too risky.
And he was making these moves fairly quickly, so it seems like I think he felt just like let's just get this over with. I'm winning. Let's just kill you right now.
Yeah. In fact, around here, it's not such a crazy idea to play something like rook a5. Stopping this pawn
Just shut it
forever.
down.
Yeah, and then just going for the deep pawn. Something like this looks very reasonable to me. At least it looks way easier. I think this pawn is more or less lost. Yeah, I don't see much of a future here. d5 is definitely gonna fall. And he can start wearing that pawn down.
Possibly b4.
Before rook takes a4.
Yeah, and then rook takes a4, and then we can pick up that
rook
pawn.
Yeah, but it's going to be a b pawn that's not passed. There's a c pawn, and this one's gonna fall. So in the end, you're going to lose a pawn. You lose a pawn here.
Yeah, e5 will fall.
When you try to recover. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about e5. Or d5, I mean.
Yeah, this looks like a good practical choice. There's still, well, not now because this idea doesn't work anymore. This knight takes h4. I don't know, maybe e4 is also lurking there. Knight e4 has to be accounted for. Well, the main threat is just taking. And if you take with the pawn, he takes with the knight on d5, and that's it. And if you take with the rook, well, we don't care because this pawn is not passed, so we can just go after this one. This looks like the easiest. I mean, rook g8 is not bad, but he's already playing with fire somewhat. Here, for example, it's e4 is good. He centralizes the king, but it's a bit harder to find. And here he went all in for an attack that's just not giving checkmate. um,
I
a6.
think well, I mean, he couldn't have assumed that. I guess he just assumed that I was going to take the knight on g2. I think he, in his calculation, he probably just miscalculated, and sometimes you assume they would recapture.
Yeah. And then turns out there's something better. And now he went running for your pawn. Oh, this was unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I didn't push. Oh, I think that's. Oh no! It was his c pawn. I didn't.
So, what should the move be here? Rook f to c1, rook e to c1, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
It's rook a7.
Yeah, but then I'm
Most likely rook fe1 with the idea.
No, I think just rook c1 would have been enough.
Yeah, he has rook a7 and he stops the pawn, defends this one. Black still has this idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still a big difference here. Your king is bad. It's just badly placed. And black has a clear plan. His king is settled, and that makes a big difference. If the king gets to e5, he captures this pawn. He starts advancing the central pawns. You're going to be in a whole world of trouble. Most likely you have to activate with rook b7, a7, try to threaten stuff so that you distract him a bit. I like rook e to b1 because this threat is already kind of annoying. Let's say he plays e4, rook b7. King e5. a7. You're just threatening this and winning. He's gotta go rook g8. So rook b8 does nothing but, well, you pick up this pawn. No, he has some impressive pawns, but this is a mess. I don't know if you can't go after this pawn. This is, at least we can call, or maybe you start checking and try to go after this pawn. You have good drawing chances here, most likely. Just looking at it a bit superficially, maybe, but it looks like your rooks activate a lot. Now that you play a7, well, c6, and this is more or less forced. It's easier to stop a c pawn than it is to stop an a pawn. It's closer to the king also. Rook a d1, yeah, king e6, and he's, unfortunately for us, defending. He played rook a6. Why is rook a6 a mistake? I know it's not pretty.
There was, I think it was f4. There was something about f4 here.
He can still take. It's weird. It looks like you're losing that pawn eventually. What can it be? Because f4, rook takes c6, f takes c, d takes c, and if, yeah, the pawns are defended. Tough. Really tough. If rook c2 or rook c1 as you played, there's rook c7. Oh, maybe you can play rook c4 and pick this one up. I know it's 3 versus 2. You probably should be losing, but still plenty of work to do. I mean, you have an h-pawn that might advance, create some trouble. You play it like this, but now it's taking you longer to get the pawn. The other way around, you have taken the pawn in 2 moves. Now it's taking you, well, he doesn't even allow you to check. Are checking a lot. Oh. F4 was the only winning move apparently here. You say F4 is the only winning move according.
Yeah, that's hard too. That's not a obvious choice.
Not at all. The first move I thought of is King E4 actually. But to be honest, Rook A3 cuts the king, and I'm not really sure how we're going to follow. But what's with F4? For one thing, you might not mind Rook H6 because
maybe it gives his
king is scared.
king shelter to go to f5, and then with the plans of playing e4. So like the king go to f5, and then rook goes to c5, and then e4.
Your king might even get to f3, which would be just terminal. Yeah, you have king e4 and king f3, and maybe, for example, f4. Oh, and if rook h6, you might just play f3. Oh, that's nice. Again, the king is caged. The king is completely trapped in a cage. And I guess it shouldn't be that hard to make progress with e4, e3. Maybe you do need to play something like this to have it defended, and then you start pushing.
Can't he just go king f1? Oh well. Oh, I see. He can't pass.
Oh, sorry.
But could he? Could he go like king c5, king b4 to king f1?
Well, you can try to pass the king over to e2. That definitely is.
Or maybe even just king f4. Oh, sorry, rook f4 and then king f1.
Now, let's say he stays put for a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, so I'm saying like rook f4 here, and then eventually king f1. Yeah. So king e4 or king d4.
The rook might come to give checks from behind. Don't think. Oh, here I'm just dropping this pawn. The king e4 is weird. I mean, the piece is so cramped.
But couldn't we still do that? If we go like that line, like king e4, rook h8, can't we go king d3? King e4, rook. Oh yeah, and then okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. Either way, yeah, and then king d3.
Yeah, my only concern is the checks from the side.
Yeah, okay, but then rook c4. Maybe king f1. No, that'd be mate. Yeah, yeah.
something like this.
Yeah, bridge, kind of. Sideways bridge.
Oh,
Okay.
you might make some progress here. And rook c2.
We can also,
And
yeah.
f3 is falling. Yeah. There are ways to put pressure here. It probably wins. The king is just so bad. It's not easy, as you see. It's not easy at all, but it might be possible. I'm interested in seeing why rook c6 is that bad. So rook a8, because it looks so normal. King e4. Oh, now you gave the check and you allow this. Ouch. Oh, that's gotta hurt, because this is most likely a draw. Now it really looks like a draw. I mean, once you play king g2, yeah, that's unfortunate. Now you get this check and yeah, he made it. And
No, the unfortunate thing is, like, as I wrote, like, in my mind, I wanted rook a3. I wanted rook a3, but my hand let go on rook a4. Like, I knew I had to cut off the king, but just my hand let go on rook a4. I don't know. It's weird and it happened. It happened 2 or 3 times this tournament, and it's never happened before. Scary.
it's like this hallucination. Yeah, well, you notice I put this game Ivanchuk and just because your game kind of made me it reminded me of this. It was Richter Rouser. You probably know this game. I mean, by playing neither of us
No,
and such.
I don't get too many Richter Wausers. The Bishop G5. People don't play that as black.
You can play.
Yeah, what is it? It's the D6 line. Yeah, like the knight C6, D6, and knight F6. Yeah.
This game became a classic just because of the concept that Anand played. Here Ivanchuk goes knight d5, trying to exchange stuff, going into an endgame. Probably he thought he might get some pressure.
Could we flip it just because I play the Richter Rouser as white? So I would normally I would normally see it from Ivanchuk's perspective.
Oh, but okay, but Ivanchuk lost this.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, we should see it from Black's perspective because Black won actually.
And the position is still it looks like a typical Najdorf. So
yeah, that was the concept by Ivanchuk, but queen takes e2, knight takes f6 check, and he was surprised by g takes instead of taking with the bishop, which would have been the way more normal way of taking. G takes. What are the advantages to this? What do you think?
Well, possibly it may allow him to play d5, and then if d5 gets captured, then he has f5 to play. That's one consideration.
Well, those pawns, that's true. That's a mass of pawns that if they can advance, they're going to exchange off white central pawn, and then he will still have some left over to keep advancing. So if we remove the pawn from g4, we make it disappear, for example, by means of h5, then we can play f5. And after we exchange these pawns, we still have an F pawn to push. It's very similar to what happened in your game in that sense. That I mean, these double pawns can either be restricted and weak because of that reason, or they might advance and there's a replacement behind. That's the hidden
Yeah, I actually play that type of um except it's I play that a very similar idea as black when white plays a Trompowski. Because I after knight
Oh,
f6 bishop g5 I play d5, and then if they take on f6 I take with the e pawn, and then I know often an idea is to go g6 and f5 or f5 g6, and even I think h6, like, but you can kind of creep those pawns up. It kind of reminds me of this a little bit because you trade off that double f pawn as black in the
yeah.
Trompowski too. It's similar.
Yeah, exactly. And well, you have replacement behind, so it's no big. Actually, that helps you gain supremacy in the center. um, and Ivanchuk was probably surprised by this. H5 came immediately, winning the H5. Another hidden advantage of the double pawns is that the open files that they leave,
So just h3
um,
though.
well, it can be pretty. H3,
Oh, then we can
I
just
think it
take.
loses a pawn.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then we just take on g4, yeah,
So
twice.
this was pretty uncomfortable already. um, Rook G1 was played, but after this is not comfortable at all. Um, Now this next move is just a very grandmasterly move. I'm going um, to let you think for a minute or two what you would do.
Is it a double X clown?
It's not so impressive when you see it, but it's very deep. I mean, what's your best bishop here? Supposed to be the light square bishop, as per the pawn structure. um, but there it goes. What do you think the point is, even?
Might be that we get d5 with tempo. We can play d5 d4 because he can't take. Oh wait, sorry, no, the b file is still closed. I was assuming he takes, um, but even if he takes, he has time to make a move. So like it would be white's turn still. Okay, first of all, let me
It
just
looks
think. If he avoids it, if he avoids a trade, like let's just say he plays bishop g. Well, he can't do that. It'll drop a pawn. So therefore, well, he could do nothing. So if he does nothing, like let's say, I don't know, rook d1 maybe, just like a passing the move back. I guess. I don't know. It would seem strange if black then trades on f1. That doesn't. I don't see what black gets out of that if he takes on f1. I don't. And I was.
It's a very, very tough move. I mean, he's exchanging his good bishop for white's theoretically bad bishop. He's gaining access to h3. That rook on h3
Gee,
will be
that's stupid.
devastating.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, he's just blocking the pawn. The blockade on the pawn h2 is phenomenal.
So weird. Bishop c4.
It's absurd. I mean, he's trading his best bishop. And the thing is, these holes that appear, I mean, they are already there, but without the light square bishop, it should be worse. Well, they are not exploitable. There are no knights. This bishop also disappears. So we don't really care. We're going to trade bishops, put a rook on h3 and the king on e6.
Looks like a
Just
a beginner's move, like a 1400 Lichess rating. Like just go there just to trade off, just because you can, and then you're left with
Yeah.
your dark squared bishop being bad there, right? It looks like such a amateur move. It's funny.
Yeah. And it turns out it's just brilliant. After b3, well,
It would have been cool
what we
to.
saw,
When was this game? What year? Like early 2000. Oh,
1994, I
okay. Too
believe.
bad. Too bad. Yeah, because Ivanchuk is very expressive. It would have been interesting to see his expression after that move, if
Yeah.
he wasn't expecting it.
There
Yeah.
might be some footage.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, no, this was really spectacular by black. I mean, so many counterintuitive decisions. Now, rook h3. Rook h3 basically splits these 2 pawns apart. Of course, that rook
It,
is worth.
it still feels so awkward though with that dark squared bishop black has. Like that looks so terrible.
You see, it's not gonna last. King d7. The plan is pretty simple. The king is going to e6. The rook is going to come to g8. And before you know it, white will probably be dropping a pawn.
I don't see it though.
In fact,
Oh, you mean just because he can't
let's
hold it?
see.
Like, could we have rook? No, but even rook before, then I mean, rook h4, he would have h3. I don't see the threats from black.
Let's say let's see if white can defend passively. Let's say he plays rook g1 just to have this one defended. Maybe it's still possible. I don't know.
We're almost threatening bishop e8 here. Like bishop e8 and rook takes e3.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, bishop d8. I mean.
I'm trying to see if we can gang up on these pawns. I don't know how to defend this effectively, really.
Rook rook 1 g2.
Rook 1 g2. And then I guess we can play. No, I was trying to make. Sorry. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Maybe.
Could we go bishop?
Maybe we can play this.
Okay, I was thinking bishop f8.
Bishop f8. And what's the idea? Trading bishops here?
Yeah. But maybe that's not an advantage. It's just equal.
Now I see that you're losing the pawn. I mean, this is happening, and you can't really go back because you're losing this pawn. Yeah, it looks like something's gonna fall. Yeah, now the threat is rook g8 and just capture the pawn. And you can't play this or this because this one's falling. Bishop f2 falls, drops the pawn on h2. Yeah, apparently now we're winning that pawn. This pawn is going to be
Bishop G1.
bishop g1, rook g8.
And
And still.
oh, for some reason, yeah, sorry. I was thinking Bishop G1 protected H3, so that I was trying to play H3.
Oh, okay. It looks like it's too many weak pawns. I mean, that might explain why Ivanchuk went for g5, trying to activate the rook. That's fine. And I won't let him. He just played this. And g takes. Bishop takes. And, well, very well calculated too, because if rook e to f2, there's bishop h4, and this bishop is under attack. So black had everything covered here. This doesn't work. We attack the rook, and you have to defend bishops. You just have to go back. So bishop d2 was tried, but the advantage is huge. I mean, of these three, I mean, the e4 pawn is going to be exchanged either by the d pawn or the f pawn, and a big majority is going to appear in the center. While the h pawn is blocked, the queenside pawns are going nowhere.
And
so now we see how. Yeah.
I was going to say H2 is also fixed on a dark square.
Yeah. And black keeps putting his pawns on dark squares, but it's just a stepping stone to start advancing them, actually.
What about d5 instead of f6? Oh, I guess he takes with check.
Just because
yeah, I didn't see he could take with check.
Yeah, and now he plays it on the very next move. And yeah, he's gonna keep advancing just like that. Rook f5. Well, there are some tactics here you have to be careful with, I guess, because the rook is. So he goes to c6 instead of e6. Rook ef2, but it's just a matter of time. I mean, those pawns are going to advance sooner rather than later. Bishop b6. A lot of going around.
This would be a headache to play.
Yeah. But black is just waiting for the right moment to start pushing, since white can't really do anything with these pawns. Finally he pushes, but oops. There's a bit of a threat here. So bishop f2 to defend, but bishop d6. Well, I should more or less force the exchange of rooks, I guess. And if you force that, well, the only active rook for white. Then black would just put the rook on h1 and start pushing these pawns. So white tried rook g3, e4. That's a cheeky move. And finally, you see, the pawns are going to advance on light squares, and the bishop is going to put itself in between.
Yeah, that's right. It's threatened mate.
Oh well.
Yeah, so f3 or c3, sorry.
Yeah, check.
Oh yeah, right.
So well. desperate enough, and now he just resigned. Um, but I mean, it was a complete positional crash. But that G takes F6 and that structure really reminded me of this game. I mean, those pawns might look horrible, but if your opponent by means of breaks can set those pawns free, well, he has spare pawns. It happens also. This is very frequent in beginners games. Just a regular French b5. You see this a lot, and it's just so bad, so bad. Uh, Not only because White is ready to get rid of his by far best bishop. I mean, just take a look at this pawn structure. Um, but also because, well, after the normal queen b6, putting pressure on d4, bishop takes. Now you definitely should take with the pawn, not only because of bishop a6, but because double pawns, when you can get some pawn breaks, well, they replace each other. You're going to take, and then you're going to chip away at the center again with c5. And d4 is going to crumble.
Yeah. But yeah, beginners hate double pawns. They think they're evil. You know, they avoid them at all costs often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they would take with the queen here instead of the pawn.
Yeah.
Not realizing that this pawn is essentially gone. And the other one is coming from behind.
Temporary.
And yeah, d4 is just being
It's like a baby tooth.
yeah.
Because you got the adult tooth right behind it to fill in.
Yeah, waiting for them to fall and then appear. um, well, I just have this one last example. It's extensively annotated. I won't bore you with details because it's messy and it's long, and I know it can be tiring. I really like this example. I've shown it before. Um, because it looks really good for white. It looks really good because we have 2 against 1 on the queen side. Black has a passed pawn, but it's very firmly blockaded by the knight. So you might think, okay, by pushing the queen side pawns, we can get an outside passed pawn while we block this one. This might put black into some serious trouble. Look at what happened. Black played king g7, just a natural move, getting the king.
Who was this? Who was these? What was who was played this game?
The players Roisman and Mikhailevsky. It's an old game. I think they were Soviet grandmasters most likely. But yeah, 1979.
Okay.
Mikhailevsky at least is well known. But Roisman just started pushing the pawns, and he kind of forgot something. I went to e7, a4, and yeah, he just started rushing the pawns forward. Meanwhile, black is improving his knight. g3, already a bad move. Not the end of the world, but the problem is white is not seeing the point. Now the queen is under attack, and it's hard to defend, to keep a4 defended. He played queen e8 to do this, which looks normal. But suddenly queen e6. And you have to exchange, or else at the very least you lose this pawn, or maybe you get checkmated. I don't know, because this queen is also coming to the attack, and this pawn might get unblocked. And now it's changed, and how things changed. What's the difference now?
Well, black has 2 central pawns now. That's notable. So there's no isolated D pawn anymore. And
White was a bit reckless here because he forgot about his king. It's gonna be so hard to get this king into play. And black was very clever. He's ready. The king is getting to f6. e5 is happening. King e6, king d5. That makes a big difference in endgames. White seemed very much fine, and then he just pushed a couple of pawns, allowed the trade of queens. Black was very clever because he noticed that his king was going to be in better shape. For now, we have to defend the pawn, so a5, king f6, and difference is huge. I mean, this king is not even close. You don't have the time for f4, king f5, for example. You just don't. The king is entering through e4, for example, f4, king f5. King e4 is already kind of scary. The king might even switch to the queen side to get rid of those pawns. And if knight c5, e5, yeah, and this king is getting to d5, and well, this is problematic. So finally, white starts walking towards the center. In the worst possible scenario, e5, and yeah, everything seems too slow now. f3, we just get into d5 too quickly. So knight c5, e4, king e1, king e5, and you can see the difference. I mean, this is the type of thing that decides endgames. It's more or less what happened in your game, not exactly, but the fact that your king was so off the game, well, it has a lot of influence in the final result. In the end game, it has to participate.
so
Why was really, yeah.
I was just going. So this is more where Shereshevsky would come into, where his book would make more sense than Dvoretsky, right?
This is actually from his book.
Okay.
This is an example straight.
Okay.
I think the book has a chapter on king activity. It's great, and I love this example because when I saw the position, I thought, okay, white is doing great, and he was fine, but the plan was so wrong. I mean, just b4 and a4, and he forgot about the king. Then he got the queen's exchange.
Oh, he rushed it. Yeah.
Yeah, he rushed it completely, and then when he found out that he couldn't really prevent the exchange of queens,
It was too late.
yeah, it was too late. I mean, the black king is just getting to the center quickly. That's why you have to be so paying so much attention to these little details. Sometimes the transition to the endgame brings this. The unavailability of our king to get to the center. And well, this is a disaster now. I mean, the supposed outside pass pawn is getting nowhere. I mean, the pawns are fixed. And meanwhile, well, the activity of the kings is just completely different. And well, I put many lines here, many variations. It seems to win a pawn, but the king just becomes too active, apparently.
Yeah, that.
For example,
The
king.
white knight seems in a different time zone. Like, what's it doing way over there?
Yeah, it's never getting back. And we have king c2, d3, d2, and lights out. So knight f6 is not working. b5 was tried. Looks kind of desperate, but the idea is more or less the same. When he takes knight f6, and the idea was supposed to keep him posted to this knight, not being able to go around. So if king e5, I'm guessing then knight takes h7. But surprise, we don't care. I mean, king's activity is everything here. King d2 was played just not to allow the king in, but it's not very different if it takes. Here, check, king c2, and d3, d2. And with this separation between the king and the knight, you know he needs a couple of times to give a check.
And knight e4 doesn't work because it's too passive. Black can just gobble up like the a pawn with his knight, I'm guessing.
Well, you can play d3 to start with. And he will never be able to remove the knight from here.
Yeah, they're paralyzed the king and the knight.
Yeah, this is Zugzwan in the making. You can only play 92, 94. Not gonna last though.
Man, that's gotta be frustrating for white though, to like to have that original position and then it's like, what happened, right?
Yeah, something went really wrong. King d2 was tried, while knight d6 defends the pawn. It's really nice how black ends up winning this. Against knight takes h7, he wins tactically. He's going to promote the pawn, the d pawn, but we have to find a cute tactic.
How about a clearance sack? Just the first thing that comes to mind, e3 check, and then knight comes in.
Adds. And the knight comes in and it keeps the other knight away. In the 1 d3, and that's why here white just resigned. I mean, king c3, knight f2, d2, and the pawn promotes. The knight is never getting back. You can only go to f8, but it's just way too low. Yeah, knight f2 and d2 at the very least, and that's it. So yeah, king's position indeed is important. It bared its weight also in the Anand's game.
Yeah.
You see the white king was always trapped on the queen side without prospects. And yeah, if you compare the first position to what actually happened, it's clear that white did something wrong. He should probably try to get the king closer to the center.
Like G3, king f1, yeah.
This makes way more sense, or G3, king G2, or king f1, but so as to have access quickly once the queens are traded. Imagine the difference it would make here. Well, here there's also a knight on c3. If the white king can get to e4, not with a knight on c3, it's very different. I mean, as white played, he just got the king.
But he had more chances, right? It wasn't just the first move. It was right. I'm trying to think. The point of no return when he had to trade queens. Was that here? Oh no, sorry. He didn't have to play queen e8, right? Or did he?
Well, king c3 put in some problems because this king is really trapped. Queen a5 apparently is the most resilient.
Yeah, it's tough though. That's a tough move.
Yeah, I have this line here which I found.
Ooh, scary. That's scary.
Yeah, apparently with queen a6 you're still in the game.
Yeah, you
At the very least, you can just play knight takes a4, but I don't know if that's enough. Don't know. Maybe this is holdable. It's scary indeed. I mean, takes a4. I think you still have to work for the draw there. But
man, queen and knight. That's a pain in the ass end game. I mean,
yeah, too close to the king. But this was supposed to be the line that holds. Um, Apparently, queen e8 is already bad mistake because of queen e6.
yeah. But it's like
Then
I feel like I can't really blame white though. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it seems it's not obvious. I mean, maybe it's
not at
all
all. I mean,
yeah
this can easily happen
yeah
in one's games, but it's very instructive because he kind of forgot about king. Once he traded the queens, he said, "Oh, we're too far away."
seems more like it seems less like white played poorly and more like black played really well. Maybe a bit of both, but
Yeah,
I think black nailed it.
yeah. Black was very aware of what he was looking for. Clearly, I mean, he exchanged queens at exactly the right time, um, and white was well. Maybe not too conscious of what was happening. He wasn't aware of the importance of the position of the king in that endgame, apparently. But maybe he just forgot about it for some moves, and then he found himself against queen e6,
Yeah,
and he had no choice.
yeah.
That's likely.
But this seems like this
um,
is well ingrained in your head, so you might remember this type of idea in your games. Like maybe I should be thinking about my king position before pushing
well,
here.
well, yeah. I mean, this definitely helps. I mean, analyzing endgames like this definitely gives you. I mean, you're almost reminded automatically about the fact that, okay, I need my king prepared to get closer to the center because it's so likely that pieces are going to get exchanged. Um, but yeah, that's why I found your game interesting, because there was a shocking difference in the activity of both kings. I was reminded of these examples. The Ivanchuk and well, because of the pawn structure and how those pawns started rolling, even though they looked like they were completely. Uh,
Yeah,
and this one, because it was just completely unexpected how white lost.
I know
Because
that
of
the point of the Ivanchuk Anand game was to like illustrate the I think it was it he was black, right? So it was G takes f6, I think. But what actually stands out to me about that game was the bishop c4 move. That's
Bishop c4 is very grandmasterly.
yeah,
I
but that's what
mean,
sticks out in my head because it's such a funny move. I mean, like and just the
yeah,
idea behind it, just to gain access to h3 was very interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so deep. I mean, it's one of those. It goes into the category of all its changes. um,
You know
yeah,
what?
it's definitely.
I'm gonna research that. I'm gonna try to find a video. I want to see if I can see. I want to see Yvonne Chuk's expression to that. I'm curious about that. That'll be good. I'm gonna look. He
There
said it
should
was
be
what
footage.
94, 97,
It was 92.
92.
Apparently. Let me
Oh, that's
see.
gonna be hard to find a video about that.
Uh,
What event was
uh,
it?
uh,
Was it a big event?
Linares.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
Just
maybe. Yeah,
just likely something there. Yeah,
yeah. If they
yeah.
covered the game. But although back then, didn't they just
The
cut? They
big
kind of
one.
just covered like the top board. Maybe it was the top board though back then, because Ivanchuk would have been like top 5. I'm guessing at that point. 92.
Yeah, well, it was a close tournament in Irish, so all the games were more or less important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Well.
okay. Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
now I
that.
promise
No more
I will
looking at my
search for
bad
more in
games.
your current games.
Yeah, I don't want to look at that.
I,
But the funny thing
I
is,
will take a peek at.
yeah, the funny thing is that
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
despite how poorly I played, it was a good tournament. I gained a lot of rating out of it, so it's kind of funny, even though I played poorly.
Yeah, you have to factor in the quality of the opposition, and it was quite strong. So that counts. That counts for a lot. You did, you demonstrated that you can easily play in equal terms with them, which is really good.
Yeah, and I'm
I
not
think that you
scared,
have to.
and I have no fear. Like I'm not scared, like, or I'm not intimidated. Or I know some people are if they're playing higher rated players, but I'm not. I mean, at least if they are under 2000, like I'm not. If they're like 1900, 1950, even like 1990, it doesn't scare me because like it just doesn't, like, they're beatable. It's not impossible to beat them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, by playing them, you notice that you can definitely beat them. I mean, um,
Yeah, I mean,
and you proved it.
even if it's 1 out of 3 games, this might be the game, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
that's how it works.
did you hear that I'm not playing over the board anymore? Though, did you?
I heard.
You saw that video? What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I'm not sure. I mean, if you're, I mean, if it does some good to your confidence, then well, okay, do it. But if you don't reach 2300 fast, I'll go and play some tournaments. Um, because this is where you learn the most. I mean, just look at how much stuff you got out of this game. Just because they are games that are played at a different depth. I mean, you pay way more attention. It's the competitive situation just makes it more important to you, so it engraves in your memory a lot more.
Mm.
Um, it's different than just playing a bunch of uh, rapid games online. Those games are more or less forgettable. Um, these ones you're never going to completely forget. You will get a lot of experience out of them. I mean, we've gone through many endgames where you even learn some new concepts, I think. um, and that's what actually translates into a higher standard of play with time. That's why I don't like the idea of abandoning over the board tournaments altogether. If you have now this goal of getting to 2300, is what you're aiming for?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
I'm at about 22. I climbed back up to 2200, so I've got 100 points to go. My peak was like 2237, so I mean, it's doable, but how
Completely
long
doable.
it might take, it may take a while.
Yeah, if you notice it's taking too long, I wouldn't restrict myself that much. I mean, over the board play is important. It's going to make you a better player overall. So,
Mm.
uh, so don't just do without it. Not because of this challenge. Um, Separate online play from over the board, because if you're not doing that well, or you feel you're not doing that well in a chess, it doesn't mean you're going to do badly in a tournament. It just doesn't work like that. I don't know why that is.
I think
uh,
part of it is that my last two tournaments were so good. I feel like I have nowhere else. I can't climb anymore because I used up all of my good luck. You know what I mean? Like I feel like because I climbed like 200 points in those last two tournaments. So it's like I'm scared to play another one unless I kind of prove to myself that I'm improving. That's why I want to set the new milestone of 2300 before I play over the board again. That's my logic, anyways. It may be flawed.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's good for confidence. Though from now on, now that you have your FIDE rating, you have good national rating, uh, you have to make peace with the fact that there are tournaments where you're going to lose points.
Oh, I know that
Because if
too well
you,
because I
yeah,
had years of that. So these are
but
like,
it will always happen. I
mhm.
mean, it happens to everyone. Um, and it's
Yeah.
just part of the role. I mean, it's completely meaningless. I mean, if you lose 500 points, 300 points, okay, well, then maybe some alarms should be ringing. But
Okay, but let me ask you,
losing,
when you hit 2400, you didn't want to peak sit there a little bit?
not really,
Okay,
because my
okay.
goal, yeah, because the goal was to get there because it's one.
It's permanent.
Yeah, I mean, you need that to get the title afterwards. In fact, I relaxed a bit. I
Okay,
started
because
playing
it's you
more.
never have to worry about that again.
Yeah,
You could drop to
you know when,
1900 and you still have it. Yeah.
yeah, you know when I got nervous when well, I was getting close, and I knew I had to get there. Then you say, okay, I need some more games, adding points. But once you go there, in fact, I went down the last tournament. I'm 2391 now. Um, and I'm not losing sleep over it. I mean, if I play well, I know I will uh, increase it again, and if not, well, I have to keep working.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Plus, you're still playing those kids, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, well, at least I'm playing a tournament this weekend.
Oh.
Um, yeah, these kids are not there. That's good.
Okay. Oh, cool.
That's something.
How many rounds is it?
It's 6 rounds in
Oh,
3 days. It's going to
okay.
be
Oh,
hard.
okay. And is that a norm event?
No, it's not a normal event.
Oh, too bad.
It's a good open tournament. It's very near my
Okay,
my city, so
okay.
yeah, that's comfortable.
I thought you might just
Uh,
play norm events.
yeah, but there are not that many. So to
Oh,
keep yourself in shape, you have to play whatever you can. Because if you just appear in one of those tournaments and you haven't played over the board in, I don't know, 8 months, it's tough. It's so tough.
right.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a way to keep myself active.
So you said it's next week?
It's this weekend, actually. It's on Saturday.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, well, yeah. Good luck on that. I'll
thanks.
see
Hope
if I
it
can
goes
follow
well.
along. You should send me. Did it have a like one of uh,
Yeah,
those?
just results
Yeah, chess
link.
results thing. You should send me
Yeah,
that. I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good luck with that. 6 rounds. Are you how do you sit in the seeds?
I'm the second seed.
Oh, we hate that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But
So there's some pressure. Yeah.
what's like the bottom lowest rated player, or like what's the
Oh, there are a lot
median
of
rating?
players who have. I don't know that there are a lot of unrated players. That much I know.
Okay, but are there
Uh,
like fourteen
like
hundreds, 1600s in there?
yeah, there are
Okay,
some. There are
okay,
some 14, 1500s.
and it's an open.
Um, it's an open. Yeah.
Okay, just like a one section. You
Oh yeah, no, there are no sections. It's just
oh,
one big open
did you ever have
tournament.
sections over there? Section
Yeah, there
tournaments?
are many. Yeah, there are many under 2000, under 1800, I think, under 1600. It's more or less like that. There are even Argentinian championships uh, of the different sections. Yeah.
You know, this year I was earlier. I was planning to go to the Canadian Open. Like I was really planning to go to that. It's like 11 rounds. Shirov is going to be there actually, amongst other,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and a former candidates, another former candidates player. I think I don't know how to pronounce it, but like Evgeny Bariv. He's Canadian GM. He's from, I think, Russia.
Oh,
He
yeah,
moved
top
to
players
Canada.
during this
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I was going to go to that, but then yeah, it's too expensive. It'll be like $2,300 to go to that, so I'll skip it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I'll let you go, but yeah, thanks again, and good luck in this tournament. I'll stay tuned for that, and we'll stay in touch.